you see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, Melissa, if you want to. There we go.
Welcome everybody to Shop Smart tonight. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. This is the first time I've ever done a collaboration, so I really appreciate Keri coming in and collaborating with me for this wonderful class, Healthy Grocery Shopping or Shop Smart Workshop. And so to start out this class, I want to just do a little icebreaker. So we'll go around and everybody can tell us what their favorite healthy meal is. And we'll start because I know that right off the bat, my favorite healthy meal is curry chicken with vegetables. With coconut. I like coconut curry chicken, and I love to make it. And sometimes even make like a larger batch, and I'll freeze some, which is like wonderful the next time you reheat it. So
right.
So
all those flavors really kind of meld together once you kind of I like that.
And so many different variations too, so you can make it with whatever you have on hand, which is something I love.
Great.
So what about you, Keri? What's your favorite healthy meal?
My favorite healthy meal is very, very simple. I like to do like a nice like chicken sausage with vegetables. Like it's more like just a spinach mix, and then I make it with like brown rice pasta. I have a lot of food sensitivity, so I have to be very careful about what I have. So it sounds simple, but it's very delicious, and I just put a little bit of olive oil with it. You know, everybody need that healthy fat to help absorb some of the nutrients. So that's basically my go-to meal most of the time.
Sounds delicious. Absolutely. I don't think I've ever bought chicken sausage, but maybe I'll try it out next time I'm in the store. So what about Beverly? What is your favorite healthy meal?
Okay, I like salmon. So it's something with salmon. It's either a grilled salmon and maybe a sautéed spinach and a sweet potato. So that would be a nice color. I actually have some spinach and sweet potatoes. I used it for something else, and then I took the leftovers and they're in a container in the refrigerator. But yeah, that would be my healthy meal.
Really good too.
Awesome.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Hi everybody, I'm Denise. My favorite healthy meal would be grilled on the barbecue chicken, and I make my own version of Buddha bowl. So I put different things. I put walnuts, different types of seeds. I love blue cheese, arugula, you know, the whole, and sweet potato, of course, because I love sweet potato. That's my favorite.
Very nice.
And then last but not least, Noreen.
Well, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. No, with this muting and unmuting. I actually like salad. I actually do eat it every day. So I like to put like some lettuce, different colored peppers, quinoa. I really like quinoa a lot. Sunflower seeds, maybe some corn. Depends which day, an egg, carrot sticks in, and I don't eat dressing anymore. I feel like with all that in there, I enjoy. So, and yeah, so healthy and colorful is, yeah.
Yes, very colorful. I like it.
Oh, and avocado, excuse me, avocado.
Avocado.
Can't forget that.
So for our agenda for tonight, we're gonna just go through, Keri and I are each gonna introduce ourselves because we are, you know, we each have different businesses. I'm a personal concierge in Lehigh Valley, and she's a nutritionist. So then we'll go through Keri's rainbow evaluation, which we already talked about a little bit, and reading the food label. And then I'll go and I'll do planning for successful meals. And we will do a question and answer at the very end and a wrap up. So there is Here For You Concierge is me, Melissa, and Keri is to have and to nourish. So I'll go first and then pass over. So for me, this case study I have, it was a elderly couple. This is actually a couple years ago before all this, but they were both having health issues, and they sent me to go run all their errands. I had to pick up their mail, fill all their prescriptions, do the grocery shopping, and the husband was meal planning for eggplant parm, so that was pretty cool. And they were able to just, hang out at home while I did all their errands. And another time I went grocery shopping for a client right before a big party that they were having. So she needed all the stuff to make, I think, pico de gallo and also guacamole. So I do a lot of different tasks, and one of them is usually grocery shopping for 1 or 2 clients every single week. So that's been interesting. So I'll turn it over to Keri.
All right, so yes, thank you, Melissa. Which I love what you do. I love how you really, you're getting out there and you're helping people in a very meaningful way, right? If they can't get to the store, you're doing it. And I think you're such a caring and nurturing person to have that be your business. So yes, I really like what you do. As far as my business, I'm a registered dietitian. Been practicing for over 7 years. Just recently started my own business after working for ShopRite. But this is a testimonial from one of my clients that I've had. It was he felt that I was, more than a counselor or just a nutrition expert. He really felt that I was a coach, helping him on his way to his goals through proper nutrition. It was very sweet. He felt that I really cared about him, which I do. I care about all my clients, more so than you probably think. I think about them all the time. And this particular client felt that, I definitely decreased his blood sugar levels, gave him more energy to the foods and the timing that we were doing with him, and he had noticeable weight loss, which were all of his goals that he wanted to meet, and he did. So I was there again, helping him along the way. Behavior change is very tough. And sometimes if you can have that expert type of support, it just makes it so much easier, I would say, and keeps you motivated in the right direction. Because I know it can be very confusing with nutrition, which way to go. But I'm definitely there as the expert to kind of get you where you need to be in a safe and effective way. So.
And do you virtual coaching or?
Yes. Virtual and in person. I've actually, a couple of my clients that I've had the past few weeks, they wanted to come in person, so they came to my office. Yeah, but we do it online as well, virtually.
Okay. So you can take this. This side.
Everyone, why do you think we should learn how to meal plan and, let's say, shop smart? Do you have any inputs on why this was so important to you to attend this webinar? Nobody wants to? Yeah, Denise.
Say something. I meal plan, so it just, there's so many benefits. I don't even know where to start with that. I think that it's really easy to just, when you're really hungry, to grab something, and normally it's going to be something really fatty. So to have something already available and ready and nutritious, I mean, that's one huge benefit. Timing, I could go on forever about it, but I think that's mostly what keeps me on track, because I'm very much into fitness and eating well. So that really helps me to make sure that I'm getting the right nutrition and eating the right things.
Perfect. You hit the nail on the head there, really. So that was definitely great. Does anybody else have any other thoughts that they want to add before I kind of pitch in?
I would say that my mind is always going, so I'm always thinking about ideas. So it's not always the meal planning, but I like to take all the foods I have and try to put things together and make a meal with them. And I savor the little pieces of things, and that's a challenge for me. So I enjoy, and then like when I've taken your classes, or just getting new ideas how to make things, and take something that I learned and then apply it. So that's how I approach meal planning.
All right, very cool. So you like to put things together, and you and Melissa are going to get along really well then, because Melissa loves to do that too.
Yeah, I do a lot of food photography on Instagram, and so I like to absolutely, like today for dinner I had to like whip it up because I had this class, so I had beans left over from one thing, chicken left over because I made a whole
Right.
chicken, and rice and salsa I bought, so it was like came together in a snap and it felt really fancy. So
Yeah.
Yep. Any other, Noreen or? No.
I mean,
All right.
it's
Sorry. Was that it?
no, I was just gonna, I'm sorry, because I didn't hear the whole thing what Denise said, but just, I mean, in terms of like healthy to take care of my body and my family, to, I guess, try to prolong our lives and the blood work and all that stuff, the heart, they say you are what you eat. I mean, it's really important. So my daughters do been healthy, and yeah, we've been trying to watch and feel better about it. It's yeah.
So yes, everyone, each of you ladies definitely added something very important to why we're here and why, yes, shopping smart and meal planning is important. Like Denise said, it's nice to have that plan in place. So when you are stressed or short on time, you already have that fallback. And that fallback is also important for like what Beverly and Melissa like to do. If you have good things in your pantry, no matter what combination you put together, you know it's going to be healthy. So again, it all starts at the grocery store, and we're doing this, of course, like what Noreen said, is to be healthier, right? Feel better, prevent other conditions that might prevent us from enjoying life to the fullest. And that is my philosophy in my business. We want to enjoy life to the fullest. Especially now in this time, right? It's a little tough to enjoy it, but nutrition definitely plays a large part in even the times now in helping prevent and keep us strong. So I think this workshop is very beneficial, and I'm really glad that you're all here. So, yeah. All right, so do we want to move the next slide? All right. Sure. All right, so does anybody want to talk? All right, we kind of talked about it. Does anybody have like a specific, let's say, like structure that they do their shopping in? Like, do you guys make a list? Do you guys only shop on Sundays? What do you guys do currently? Denise?
Okay, what I do currently is, yes, I do all shopping and cooking on Sunday, and pretty much plan. So I talk to my husband and we talk about what we really want to eat during the week, because we only pick 3 things, because after that it gets a little out of, you know what I mean? It's more controlled that way. You're not wasting food. I mean, chicken could really be in the refrigerator, what, 2-3 days, you know what I mean? Like cooked. So that's what I'm saying. Like we have to make sure that we're gonna eat the meals. So I try not to make more than 3. So I always stick kind of with the basics. I do a lot of turkey, a lot of lean turkey, lean beef, and of course chicken breast with meat. We do a lot of greens. So and we do a lot of peppers, different peppers, tomatoes. We always get the same thing every time, but we're making different things, you know? So it's always kind of the same base. You know, we have our whole wheat bread. We have our, I do protein smoothies as well. So we have flaxseed and chia seeds, and we do different things for our shakes. So I get the same things on a weekly basis as needed, but I buy bulk. So it's not that it's out of control and I have to constantly go to the store, you know? But I'm always monitoring. I think chicken goes the fastest for us because chicken's so versatile. I mean, you could do a million things with it. So that's kind of what we do. So it's always the same thing, but we figure out a plan of what we want to do that week.
Okay.
So we know what our options are.
I think you and I shop very similarly then. No, we do. I could tell by what you said, and we'll get into that. Beverly or Noreen, do you guys have a protocol for how you go about your shopping?
I tend to shop what's on sale,
Shame.
and my husband, he's a meat and cheese and, different kind of person than me. So when I make things, it's what I'm going to eat for a few days, or I have to freeze it. So I tend to have a lot of things in the house that I have to finish up. So, and I think it's a negative and a positive. For example, he had some sliced mozzarella, that sliced, and so I had Bisquick, and I made a little Bisquick pizza the other day. I had a little cup left of the Kodiak chocolate, the chocolate pancake mix, so I just made that the other day, and I had the eggs, and I threw in mozzarella and the spinach and the sweet potato, and I don't eat pork roll that much, but there was a slice of pork roll, so I threw it in there. So sometimes I have to say it's not always, and then we always a lot of cheese, and so it's kind of what I have around, and I just have to be careful sometimes, I think. But it's a lot of it's healthy. Even that bag of I can't remember, it was the oatmeal that I got from your class that you taught. It was a big, it's the one where they give the oatmeal, and then they donate one to charity.
Oh yes, oh my gosh.
And that was,
right, it's been a while. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Cupful or something.
Yeah, Soulful, I think.
Soulful, that was it.
I
Soulful,
used that with honey, and so that was like, I had it for a long time. I used it with the honey or whatever, the maple syrup and the, so on, and so that's where I have to watch. So I plan, but then I think about the food waste. I don't want to waste. And during pandemic, I didn't shop. I mean, we did the online, and I didn't go out to, I was in Costco, I think a couple weeks ago. I've been to Costco twice now, and I've been to Shoppers a couple of times, but I really have been not going out into the stores. So I try to, go online and order, or Basil Bandwagon here in Clinton. They actually would bring it to your car. So yeah, so I mean I feel like I talk a good line, but then I see I was doing really good in this last month. I really I see it was carbs. I was eating carbs and sugar.
More of the carbs.
And even if I was like coming from your class, doing the alcohol free that month, and your class, I was all set in the pandemic. I was really doing so well because I was all prepared. And then this last month, for some reason, I'm not sure what it was. I just
Stress.
Something, I don't know what it is. I just I mean, I feel like I'm still eating good stuff, but sometimes I to be honest, when I look at, I say, oh, there's sugar, there's carbs. I mean, even the bread at Costco, I did that. There's 2 loaves of, I like that whole grain, but I freeze it, and then I slice it up. But still, it is it's carbs.
Right. Well,
yeah. I know carbs are okay, but I'm finding that I really have to think more about it.
Yeah, it's finding that balance, right? Still, yes, you want to use the stuff in your house, but if you need to get that other food group to make a balanced meal, you got to go out and get stock up the frozen vegetables in the freezer as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or I have them there and I don't feel like I want them, or it just, I have to maybe season them a certain way to make them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Noreen, do you want to pitch in at all?
Sure. Okay, so I guess it was probably close to a year ago. I had started seeing a nutritionist. I've probably seen a couple of different ones since. So kind of really changed the way we eat. But in terms of shopping, I think Beverly said maybe she shops on sale. We do also. We try. I mean, we'll buy also bulk, like if it's something, it's something that we always use. And yes, dairy products, we watch the dates, but we also like eat the same type of things. So we just want to make sure that we always have enough. I mean, like the salad, we buy enough for at least the week, or more, however things are going to last. But we always have to make sure we have our staple foods are kind of like everything that we eat. So yeah, that's I would say.
So you guys have your current way that you're doing it. And Melissa, do you want to go to the next slide? Because I'm just gonna, all right. So you have your current way of doing it, and based on your current eating or your basic shopping that you guys are doing, did anybody find out something maybe shocking or something they weren't aware of from the rainbow evaluation for how they're getting or how they're shopping? Did anybody do the rainbow evaluation?
Yes, I did it.
Anything noticeable pop out at you?
I don't do a lot of corn. That stood out. Yeah, kind of more the yellow. I don't do too much yellow.
Don't too much of the yellow. What about the orange? Do you get orange in there?
Yes, I do a lot of orange. I do a lot of carrots, a lot of carrots, a lot of tomato, peppers, green.
I'm sorry.
And blueberry, I do tons of blueberries and berries. It's just that yellow. I do squash, summer squash, but not very often.
Okay. And as long as you're getting the orange in there, you know, some of those nutrients, it's more like the vitamin A, the carotene that's going to cross over. So if you weren't getting both orange and yellow, I would be concerned that you weren't getting some of those nutrients in. But if you're getting a good amount of orange and maybe yellow periodically, you know, that's not so bad. You know, you're still getting very rounded, I would say, with all the other vegetables, which is great. Usually the one that is actually the least consumed is the blues or the purples in more of the general population. But the fact that, you know, you're getting most of it in there is great. Beverly or Noreen, did you guys notice like one thing about the eval that you maybe thought stood out?
Well, I'm not a big fruit eater, and I'm apples and bananas. And then we always have blueberries, and I buy blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, but my husband will eat the strawberries. I'm just, for some reason, I don't know if it's a texture thing, but I know the blueberries are really good, so I really try to focus. Today I had cottage cheese with blueberries and the flaxseed. Again, it was in the house, so I threw it together. So I don't tend to eat it by itself. And then I've been trying to slice the apples with a nut butter or something, or slice. Because if I have the apple by itself, I'm not gonna eat it.
Right. Yeah. And you don't need to. I mean, 1 or 2 servings of fruit today is literally all we need. The majority of it really should be from those vegetables and primarily non-starchy vegetables. So as long as you're getting, you know, the colors in from fruits and vegetables, you know, if you don't eat a lot of fruits, that's okay. You need just a couple is fine. You want to make sure that you're covering up the color bases with your vegetables then. So. Noreen or Melissa?
I didn't get to complete it, so I mean, I started doing it, but well, like I was saying, I had started seeing a nutritionist, so I was starting with this low FODMAP diet. So yeah, so I kind of not still eating certain things, but I do eat what I eat, like blueberries and apples, carrots, string beans, broccoli somewhat, some. I guess I'm missing some colors along the way, but I mean, yellow peppers, I guess, red peppers, strawberries. I was eating strawberries, but because, I don't know, we had some problems with it, so we stopped eating that. And then there's certain ones I haven't really brought back in, cherries. So grapes I will eat. So, but if you say just 1 or 2, because, so I think I do have at least definitely 1, probably 2 a day, and then vegetables and the salad. So
that's good. And the reason, you know, you sparked my memory for something. I did want to say, you know, these recommendations and anything that you would get from the eval is just a general, you know, statement. If you have any specific medical conditions, or you need more individualized care or guidance, then you would need to see myself or another dietitian or healthcare practitioner, somebody who struggles with digestive issues, who needs to work through a low FODMAP diet. It's a very specific individualized plan. And yes, a lot of different fruits and vegetables can contain different amounts of FODMAPs, which are poorly digested carbohydrates. So that being said, like I said, if there's any other condition though, that you might have individually, you can reach out to me personally. Or if you have, questions about your lack of time or mobility in going shopping, you can talk to Melissa personally as well, reach out to her. But like I said, this is not to be a replacement for any specific treatment plan that you're on with a healthcare provider. And we can address those individually, after the presentation if need be.
Yeah.
Any questions on that?
To answer your question, for mine, I noticed that I'm well diversified, but I'm not getting like a daily of any of the colors except for blue, because I'm very into berries. I like to have frozen berries, like, and yogurt. And so, but like, I think that maybe, is there one or two that you should be having daily, or is it, you should really just spread them all out?
You want to, in a week's time, just get the variety. It's
So,
not necessarily like
good. So I did good, right? I'm
so
right.
you did do good. Yeah, you can't expect every day to be perfect. That's unrealistic. And even with nutrition, it evens out for the week. So just get a variety in each week, and you should be good. But the problem is, again, why I wanted to do this rainbow evaluation with you, as you can see with the My Plate picture here, this replaced the food pyramid. This is what our plates should look like at each meal. I mean, in some variation, you want at least 3 of those groups on your plate in those portions. And as you can see, the fruits and vegetables, they're taking up half your plate. So it's a majority of what we should be eating. And if you're not getting them in there, we need at least 3 servings of vegetables a day and 2 servings of fruit. If we're not getting that, we need to think about how we're purchasing and what we have in our house so that they're easily accessible to put on our plates. That makes sense? Okay, excellent. All right, so do you want to go to the next slide, Melissa? So now to the really fun part, reading the food label, right? And did anybody notice that there was changes in the last couple of years to the food label? Nobody knew that? All right, yeah. So
I just the additional sugars that they started putting on.
Which is great. I love that they did that. And there's a few other changes too, but we'll talk about the sugars, but that's probably the biggest thing that I love about the changes that they made. So with reading the food label, what is the first thing that we look at?
Calories.
Serving size?
Serving size. Oh, is that Noreen? That's it? Noreen?
Yes.
Yeah, you're my winner. The very first thing that we should look at is really the serving size, right? Because I don't know how many times I've had clients say like, oh, I ate this whole, let's say this bar, I ate this whole bar. And surprisingly, in that bar, there's 2 servings.
Yeah.
Now, the numbers on the food label are for the 1 serving, right? So if you eat a whole bar and the bar is 2 servings, you have to double everything on that label. It's very important to always look at the serving size first. And even beyond that, if you're looking to compare items, right, you have to make sure you're comparing them for the same serving size. It can be very deceiving. If you have one product that's basing on a half a cup and the other one's on a cup, the half a cup might look better, but if you doubled that into making it a cup, the nutrients on there might not look so good as you would have thought. Does that make sense? Did I explain that? Okay. So it's always important to look at the serving size first, no matter if you're just looking at a single item or comparing it to another. All right, that's your first spot. The others, you guys were very close. Calories is definitely a next point to kind of look at. Granted, everyone's calorie needs are different, and I do not generally like to count calories. I don't think you need to count calories, but in terms of judging a product, it can be somewhat helpful. However, again, like I said, if you feel like you get over obsessed with the calorie amount, we should talk in person and kind of work through that a little more. But as far as calories go, a snack, something around 100 calories is typically considered low, which is great. But for a meal, you know, we need more calories. We need more nutrients for each meal. So generally around, you know, a 400 range for a meal is going to be considered okay. For a snack, 400 would be high, but for a meal, it would be okay. So generally around that 100 to 400 range for snacks to meals is kind of a good area to be in for that. And like I said, though, there is going to be some variation person to person. You'll notice that the percentage of fat was removed from the food label. It was not so much about fat calories that we're interested in that makes a product healthy, because, you know, avocados high in fat, nuts are high in fat, seeds are high in fat. So it's not, they didn't want to focus on, you know, the calories from fat, but it was more the type of fat that was important. Okay. And we're going to talk about that next with this 5-20 rule. All right. So when we're looking at the food label, the nutrients, the total fat, the sodium, the fiber, and then below the vitamin D, calcium, iron, those are the nutrients that we're looking at. And you'll go all the way across, you see the percent, right? Everybody have a product or they see it on the screen, that percent. So that's the percentage of your total daily intake that product meets. So let me see. So this product on the screen, it's 5% of your saturated fat intake. So I always love to look at the percent daily value or the percent daily values, because it's a really good judge of the product. If I were to see 1 gram of fat, I don't know what that means. How much fat am I supposed to have a day, right? So the percentage really helps. 5% or below is considered a low source of that nutrient, right? 20% or above is considered a high source of that nutrient. The tricky part is that some nutrients we want more of and some nutrients we want less of, right? So the nutrients of concern that we'd probably want less of would be the unhealthy fats, like your saturated fat and trans fats, right? Sodium would be a one that we want to get a lower amount of. The nutrients, though, that we want a higher amount of, that we want to aim more for that 20 range, would be the fiber and the nutrients down below, the micronutrients down below, which would be like your vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. Right? Anything in between 5 and 20, I know it's kind of like a large gap, but anything like 15%, that would be considered a moderate source of that nutrient. Not necessarily considered low, but not super high either. It's best when it gets in those ranges just to kind of compare products, and whatever your, I guess, new wellness goals are, those would be the nutrients you would aim for to get lower or higher of. All right. Any questions there with the 5-20 rule? No? Okay. All right.
Well, the question, so the labels, like on the hummus, it'll tell you, so that has changed now. It doesn't tell you what percent of fat, like it'll say calories from fat. So that's not on there now?
They're switching. If it's on there currently, it's in the future they have to, it's switching over. It should have, it's been a couple years, so they also be switched over. It's not going to have the calories from fat on there anymore, but it'll still say which fat source is in there. Most of the time under total fat, you know, there's a few different kinds of fat. There's your saturated fat and your trans fats, which are your unhealthy fats. And then you have your healthy fats, would be your polyunsaturated fats and your monounsaturated fats. Those are generally not listed. I mean, sometimes they are, some products do have them on, but most of the time the companies use a product, they use a process of elimination, or they expect a process of elimination on the terms of the consumer to judge how many healthy fats are in there. So if this product contains 8 grams of total fat, and there's only 1 gram coming from a combination of trans and saturated fat, that's your unhealthy fat, we can then deduce that the rest is from healthy fats, right? So that's kind of how that works. And one thing I'm going to back up a little bit, because one major thing that I forgot to go over, that I'm not sure why I forgot to go over it, but the serving size on products is now, it's not recommended serving sizes. It's based on what people typically eat. So, you know, people typically eat more of a serving. So like the example, most common one, the serving size for ice cream used to be half a cup.
Right.
Nobody ever eats half a cup of ice cream. So to have people be more aware of what the nutrition was in what people were normally eating, all products are now, it's what people typically eat. So now it's 2/3 of a cup that they put on ice cream to really show you what you're getting. And still, most people eat still double that, right? So just always be aware that, you know, the serving size, it's not, again, what you should be eating anymore. It's not the recommended. So you almost have to be very aware of what your individual nutrition needs to be. Like I said, if you have questions with that, I am available, and we can discuss that again at another time if you'd like.
So is that the food lobbyist having them put that on there, or what? Why are they doing that?
I think it gives people, since people don't really do the math in their head, how much a product is, they're just making it more obvious that this is what you're normally eating. This is what you're typically eating of, like a bag of chips. That's how much fat's going to be in it, or that's how much, you know, added sugar is going to be in it. They're just kind of taking that process out of the hands of the consumer to make it more noticeable.
Right, because when I'm thinking, if you're saying when it says the serving size is so many calories, I'm thinking, well, I just have to budget that for my meal plan versus saying, well, why don't I just eat a half a cup instead of 2/3?
Yeah, well, it's, you know, there's definitely still education that needs to be done around it.
That's very eye-opening. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
That's so different.
Something new.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get on to, you know, if you have more questions with it, we can definitely go over this. Just one last thing I want to talk about. I know, Melissa, we're running a little behind, but the one last thing that I really love is the added sugars in there. So sugars, fiber, they're all types of carbohydrates, right? And the added sugars are non-nutritive, just added calories and sugar that we don't need. It includes, you know, just regular white cane sugar, but also includes honey and even, you know, anything added like that. Even though honey is natural and can be considered helpful, it's still included under the added sugar because a lot of times it's just adding extra sweetness when we don't really need it. What you're looking for with the added sugar, in a day, you don't want to have more than 10% of your intake from added sugar. So if you add up all the products you ate and you saw that next to the added sugar, it was like 1%, 2%, whatever. If that added up more than 10% for your day, you're probably eating way too much added sugar. And added sugar, I don't want to tell you, obviously, besides the calories, adds no other nutritional value as far as nutrients are concerned. And too much added sugar prevents healing. It decreases the effectiveness of your immune system. So the less we can have of the added sugar, the better. All right. So I will wrap that up there so I can give Melissa enough time to go over the process of planning, because this is one of the most important things for having a plan for when you go into the store so you're picking out the right things. So.
Absolutely. So for how to meal plan, I have a couple of steps and just like a little general structure here. So the first step would be to go into your cabinets and your pantry and your fridge and take an inventory of all things you already have on hand. So for me, this is my actual cabinet, pantry empty, I was organizing, and so you can see I keep a lot of beans and tomato on pan and cans, but of course also I have a lot of different things that are on hand in the fridge, and this doesn't include the pastas and rices I also have on hand all the time. So, you know, we do want to buy certain things at the store, but a lot of times if you build up a pantry, especially if you're shopping on sale, you're going to see that your favorite product is on sale and it's a pantry staple, and you're going to want to, you know, buy 2 or 3 of those. One rule of thumb that I've heard is buy one for now and one for later, so that you can, you know, have one that you're going to use this week, but you're also building up a store and a stock in your pantry, which, you know, it used to be a little old fashioned to talk like, you know, having a store and stocking up your pantry. But now with the pandemic, we have seen food shortages, and it's important to have enough on hand that you could last at least, you know, a week or 2 with just this stuff in your pantry. So I have a small kitchen, and, you know, I still have at least 2 or 3 weeks. If I do a pantry challenge, I can definitely last 2 or 3 weeks with pretty much what's on hand. If you know, even if you have to be vegetarian a little bit because you don't have as much canned meats. But so this is my simple structure for meal planning. It is just to write the days of the week down the top of the paper. Sunday, I usually start on Sunday through Saturday, and you leave a space either underneath each day or to the right of each day. And then you go through and plan all of your dinners in here. So for me, my weekly meal plan, I'm making French bread pizza. I'm making Asian soba noodles with chicken, pesto with chicken. So I have like different things that it's a mixture of what I have on hand, which is usually the pasta and the rice, and what I'm buying at the store that week. So once you go through your whole week and you make this little outline, at the bottom, you'll put your grocery list. And the way that you create the grocery list is to just go through each meal for each day, and you're going to think to yourself, what do I have on hand and what do I need to buy still? So you might have the pasta or the rice on hand, but you need to buy some vegetables that go into, you know, your pesto pasta chicken, or some, you know, sausage or pepperoni go on your your pizza, something that you might need. Maybe it's a certain cheese, like I had to buy mozzarella if I'm going to make pizza. So we talk about our cheese people, so that's right after my own heart. So that's basically it. And then also I, of course, add anything else I need. And I try to add a few snacks that can be packed in lunches. I've been eating a lot of dried fruit. I love dried fruit. So yeah, and it's important to think about, what is your weekly schedule? Like if you have a group that meets in the evening, or you have a class that you're going to be attending on Wednesdays. Like I just got accepted into this new boot camp program. So on Wednesday night, I'm going to have to make sure I plan a simple, easy meal, or I delegate that off to my husband, who also has been doing some of the cooking lately. So like, what is it? A lot of times if you're, a mother, you have like soccer practice or like different things on different nights, or maybe you're taking a night course. So just think about, what is it and what am I going to do that night to make my life easier? Like we talked about making the meals ahead of time. That might be a night that you want to pull, something out of the freezer and make it, very easy for yourself. And this is a little pad of paper that I bought on Amazon. It just is basically the same exact thing I just said, except for it doesn't have a space for a grocery list. It's just each day of the week. So if you do really like to have special pads of paper, you certainly can, but you can literally do this on any type of medium, whether it's paper or digital. I've gotten into the habit of typing mine because my clients, they email me their grocery list or they text it to me. So I have theirs already typed, and I kind of like, I want to type my own. So I've been typing my own and printing it. And that really, I really like that, just because it's clean and like I can, clearly see everything. And it also gives me a concept of the amount of food I'm adding to the list. Because if it's, it's one typed page, and I'm going on to 2 typed pages, then obviously I have a little too much stuff. I might need to clear a little bit of that clutter off my grocery list. So this is one of my recipes from this old cookbook I have. It's here, I'll grab it 1 second. It's called Sharing Your Best. And these are not the most healthy, but this is one of the casseroles that is in that recipe. And I love to keep potatoes on hand and also sausage because we do like to have it. And for this recipe, the vegetable was the green pepper rings. So a lot of these things are already on hand for me. Potatoes, it calls for canned corn. Sausage, like I said, I keep usually in the freezer or in the fridge. And peppers, I always buy them every single week, usually, depending. So for me, I can just whip this together, not that much forethought. So that's always great to take a few meals and create something with what's on hand. Another thing that I like to buy a lot is mushrooms. So I've gotten into the habit of, buying 1 or 2 pounds of mushrooms and just trying to look for recipes that are use up mushrooms on Google. So I'll just Google, how to use up mushrooms, and I get the best recipes. Like I found a really good pasta dish that I posted on Instagram where it was just 2 pounds of mushrooms and Alfredo cream sauce, and it was delicious and vegetarian. So then, after you create a couple of meals with what's on hand already, I would just fill in the blanks with something, you like to cook and that you know how to make easily. I think we have some background feedback or something. I might need to mute, guys. Okay, so I would just fill in the blanks with like simple formula type meals. Like I like to make, like I said, Asian noodles, like soba noodles or ramen noodles with like just different types of vegetables that I already have, and chicken or salmon or whatever. So that's what I usually use to just fill in the blanks. Or I'll also sometimes put just takeout that night, It doesn't, obviously most people aren't. I mean, right now, a lot of people are eating home every single night of the week, but normally we are getting food out at least once a week for my family, and a lot of other families. So if you're getting food out, you might as well just plan that on one day and give yourself a little break. Or, you could also plan to fill in the blanks with leftovers. You could take all of your extra leftovers and make like a big smorgasbord for yourself, or find a different way that you can combine them using like one of the formulas. Or maybe you can put them on pizza, or maybe you can put it in an omelet. Find ways that you can just kind of like fill in the blanks on the nights that you don't have a meal planned specifically. Or breakfast for dinner is a great one too. So yep, that's again another grocery list of mine. Sunday through Sunday was this one. And this is an example. My aunt, actually, she likes to make a grocery list in 4 quadrants. And that's the way that she puts it into the order of the store. So for me, I type it. So I type it in order of the aisles of the store. But my Aunt Nancy, she has a trick. She likes to fold the grocery list in half and fold it in half again. And she puts the refrigerated breads and cheeses in one section, and then the fruits in another section, and the meats here, so that she can, give herself an order of the grocery store. Because especially right now, we don't want to be spending our whole lives wandering back and forth from one end of the grocery store to the other. And then for lunches, typically I just use leftovers, or I'll use a different combination of the 3 main foods. So I have my vegetable, my protein, and a starch. So, and a little bit of cheese, because with your leftovers, like you said, having a little bit of this or that, or, like if we make a big meal that will last for multiple nights, it's nice to use a little different condiments or a little different toppings. So like I'll use a little different cheese on, one night, or one night I'll put barbecue sauce, and the next night I'll put teriyaki. And that way I'm kind of like taking my bland chicken and making it a little bit more interesting so I can eat those same healthy things and, you know, save money and time, and cook in bulk and all that good stuff. So we most always have these, we have these little containers. Actually, I have 4 of them, and my husband takes them to lunch, packs them in a lunch bag, or I take them when I go and work with clients in person. And like one of you guys said about being able to just grab this out of the fridge and just microwave it, that for me, you know, was so much better than going to a drive-through or doing anything, you know, trying to figure out, well, you know, somewhere to get food out, which is always expensive. So, and just keep it short and sweet and simple. You know, this is just like different kinds of vegetables and in a little container, and, you know, different kinds of fruits with some yogurt, and just, you know, my same casserole that I showed in the previous picture. So food doesn't have to be complicated, you know, it just has to be nutritious and, you know, available when you're hungry. So, and like I said, you can keep your list digitally. If you are somebody who likes to use apps, you can use Evernote or another app to write your list. I was using Evernote for like 6 months before I started using Trello, and then now I'm typing my list into just like a regular Google Doc, which is like a Word doc. So whatever way works good for you. So I'm gonna unmute, guys. Hopefully we won't have any more feedback. I'm sorry, I had to, or wait, I think I muted everybody now. Ask all to unmute. Okay, so sorry about that, everybody. If you guys have any tips or any other thoughts. Questions? Sorry if you guys.
Yeah, any questions or yeah, any tips that you felt like when you're shopping that we didn't review? Anything? Okay. I do have a few more things that I want to just kind of make everyone aware of. As you know, Melissa does she does, you know, shopping for people, and she'll make some meals for people if they need to. But I also offer a service called Bustle. It's a grocery list makeover service. So if you send me all of the items in your pantry, granted we have initial assessment so I can review your health history so I know what to recommend to you, but I will give you an alternative for each item in your pantry. If I feel like there's another item at your store, your specific store that you shop in, that might be better suited for your health needs. So it kind of takes the guesswork out of it. It definitely, I think, is an easy way to get people on track with their wellness just by doing some simple product substitutions. You can take a look at the list if you feel like the price isn't right for you, or, you know, it's maybe not something you want to try right now, or you only want to try a couple of products. That's up to you. I just give you the list, again, based on your needs, that I feel like is what's available also at your store. So definitely wanted to throw that out to everyone. Another thing, you know, that we didn't get to address, you know, in this session, because, you know, we only have so much time, and this was about, you know, just getting on the right path to shopping smart, is really just balancing meals. I think is important, and that honestly, you know, I showed you that My Plate earlier. It's a little bit of a concept that I think it's something that everyone should know, but many people don't. So if you have specific questions on how to balance each meal so that you're getting the you know, nice array of nutrients, you can, again, always reach out to me. I am going to give everyone here, since everyone stayed for the entire presentation, you're going to be emailed a rainbow recipe menu that'll give you recipes for the week, of some ideas, how to get a variety of colors in there, but generally healthy. Again, it's not specific meal plan, obviously, because I don't know everyone's history of their calorie needs, but it's just some ideas to give you. So you can look for that in your inbox. I will send that to you after, again, we get off here tonight. So that should give you guys some ideas to use. And one last thing, I'm so sorry, I keep rambling on, but if anyone found this really interesting tonight, and you like the information that you heard and you want more information from me about nutrition, I do have another workshop coming up in September. It's an immune health workshop. So if you're looking for specific foods and nutrients that might help with your immune system, we're also going to do an individual vitamin D evaluation based on your current eating patterns, which vitamin D is very important right now for supporting the immune system. And I think everyone should have, if they don't have blood work done, should at least assess based on what they're eating. So that is Thursday, September 24th at 7 o'clock. There is a $10 fee with that one, but if you're interested, you can register on my website here at tohaveandtoniurish.com or email me. It's under the upcoming events tab.
And also, I'm doing another event. It's going to be getting organized in the kitchen. We're going to go through recipe organization and creating a recipe binder. And also, I'm going to be giving some storage tips for kitchens. So, I will be in October on Eventbrite again.
I want to say that again, because I know Keri more. My vitamin D has been low for many years, and I take that little green pill once a week, and then of course I get tested and it is better, which is not as high as it really should be. So then I finally got to the point where the doctor is giving me the prescription.
Yeah.
But and then B12, I asked to have my B12 checked, and it was a little bit lower, but I try to watch it, and my A1C was 5.5 last time. So
that's really
again,
good.
But again, it's a constant, if we don't keep on it, and as I said, I can see this last month where I really, I don't know what it was. It just, it was just, but your class in particular, I really had such good results. And the thing that you said about the metabolism, like, your body kind of knows its weight a certain way, and I get to a certain point, and that's where, I've kind of maintained it. And that was something new to me. And then the other is drinking the water first thing in the morning before the coffee.
Very important.
I'm really trying that now. So but all these classes I think are so beneficial.
Good.
All the ideas, Melissa, you had some great ideas, and all that colorful, and just, it's just so important, I think, especially during this time. It's so motivating, I find, and everyone had really good input.
Yeah, good. I'm glad, Beverly. Thank you so much for the feedback.
Yeah.
Everybody else, did you guys get enough information you felt from the presentation today?
Yes. Yes. It's, as I said, the labels and just hearing hearing it the second or third time, kind of, I certain things pick up on more so, but the fat part, that 520, I just really didn't connect with that, and just the idea of planning, what I'm going to have each day, and
learning, is tough. It's not just like a one-time thing. We went to school, we learned, we had homework, we had the lecture at school, you study them for the test. This stuff comes with time, and I think people, just because everyone eats every day, they beat themselves up for it when they learn about something, but then they, maybe forget about it, or they're not doing it consistently. But that's the process, and that's normal. And I think that the fact that you ladies are, continuing to strive for health, you came to this presentation today, it just shows, it says a lot about you, that you guys are driven women, looking for your best life. And I love it. I think you guys were a great group. I'm really excited to have met all of you.
Yeah, this is a wonderful night. I really thank you guys for coming out.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, so I like the format together. That worked out very well. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you guys all for joining us, and I will go ahead and email out the recording. So if you want to go through and check again with the food list and everything, you'll get it in your email as well.
Yep, and then you'll get I'll send you guys the menu as well. Yep.
Yep. That's email. But
Thank you
for joining
us. Thank you, everyone.
Hope you guys
thank you.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. Nice to meet everyone. Yeah.